Okay. So, brother EB, success after lockdown in the building. We have a guest with us today, the lovely Miss Chastity Bowman from straight out of Cincinnati, Ohio. And she's the CEO and president of Opportunities for People Justice Leaders, a nonprofit organization that fight for the humane treatment and rights of those incarcerated in their families.
Mhm.
And so, with that, I will, I'm honored to have you on today to be able to speak with you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so listen, we're gonna get straight right into it. We're going back, and I just want you to share with our audience and our families who is Chastity Bowman, where you come from, where you grew up at, two-parent home, one parent. How was your youth? How was life for you as a youth?
Life was beautiful for me growing up. I grew up in the foothills of West Virginia and the Appalachian Mountains. I come from generations of coal miners. My mom was a United Steel worker, and that's what she retired from. So, advocacy is just in my blood. My father was a military man. My stepdad was an engineer on our rail systems. And so I come from a working class people. I come from hardworking people. I come from the Bible Belt, so I'm rooted in morality and what right and wrong is. And so I guess,
Nice.
you know, the seeds were planted in me as a young girl, you know. So
Nice, nice. So did you finish school? How was that for you?
yeah, so I'm a high school graduate. I did some college, but I guess it just college just wasn't for me. I just followed the wind in my life, and I just really followed what purpose was. And I'm a dreamer, and um, I'm very ambitious to say, to
Nice,
say the least. Yeah, and so
yes.
I just, it's just like these visions, and I chase them and I do it. And I used to scare my mom a lot. I still do to this day because I'll be like, all right, I'm about to leave and go to Atlanta. And she's like, wait, what's the plan? I'm like, I don't know, I'm going. Or I'm going to Oregon. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. But I figured out when I get there, and it's like but I've always been able to make it happen. And it's just who I am. It's what I've been.
Nice, nice, no question. So what drove you to this line of working? Could you talk about what we talked about, you being the president, CEO of People Justice Leaders,
Mhm.
and what drove you to this line of work?
So I was working in the corporate sector in 2016. Well, in 2016, let's go back. So in 2016, like I met my then husband, and he was serving a 9-year sentence, and I met him while he was incarcerated. And not to say that I had not had any run-ins with authorities. I have been arrested several times. I've had my share. In my 20s, I was wild as a buck, but I had never been impacted by incarceration the way I had and seen it on the level until I met him. In 2018, we were married inside of Ohio State Penitentiary, and I was just like wondering, did the rest of the world know that these things were happening? Like, did people know that this stuff was happening to people? And so in 2020, when COVID hit, we on the outside we didn't know what was going to happen to us. And so with that being said, I was worried about what was going to happen to him, because if we didn't have access to things, they really don't have access to things. And so I started to raise my voice with a couple other women that had sons and daughters and their family members. And we start petitioning the governor to say, wait a minute, y'all not about to forget about our loved ones. We need to do something about that too. And it started out with 3 little women who just wanted to make sure that our loved ones were safe inside of the prisons. And now it has exploded to this. Yeah, 8 years later. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Look, listen, that's this right here, what we talking about is kind of dear to my heart because I'm a person that's formerly incarcerated and I served 27 years and 6 months in New York State prison.
Mhm.
And for me, it was a wake up call early So I was locked up at the age of 20. And prior to being locked up, I was on the streets from 12 to 20. I had a mother that was on drugs. I had a father that was incarcerated. But my mother made sure she did everything in her powers to take care of me and my brothers and sisters. You know, I, I also had a grandmother that made sure wherever my mother wasn't, around, she made sure she did what she had to do for us to keeping us together. So like with that said, and I went to prison for taking someone's life, taking a young man's life, just like myself. He was 20. We was in the streets selling drugs, you know, um, up to no good, and it was just a situation where we didn't like each other because we weren't from the same place, from the same area, you know. I would say right away I started understanding, you know, yeah, the 25 years to life that I was sentenced to had me wake up as well. We're not gonna sugarcoat that,
Mhm.
but at the same time, you know, I remember being in that prison system and saying to myself, it's gotta be a better way.
Mhm.
This ain't how I really was raised,
Mhm.
to take someone's life, and now this is on my conscience even till this day.
Mhm.
But I don't make it it's not my crutch, it's my strength,
Yeah.
and doing what I'm supposed to be doing now. And that's what led to me changing my life while incarcerated. And while in there, I began to notice those women, because that's all it was for the men. It was those women. A lot of brothers didn't come around. A lot of the so-called friends wasn't around when you got locked up. It was the women that bust down the doors in the prison system where I was at. So
Mhm.
I know it's safe to say that even those other states, was busting down the doors, the women, when we look at the ratio of women that came, through our prison system to take care of us men,
Mhm.
our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, our aunts, our nieces. It was always the women. And so that held dear to my heart forever, because I began to see that dead on as soon as came incarcerated. And I told myself at that time, because prior to me going to prison, I was a person that used to call females the B word, and I
Mhm.
used to call my brothers the N word. And
Mhm.
so that was one thing that I went into the system telling myself that I was going to eradicate from my vocabulary. And I did that right away. You know what I mean? I did that right away. I was also, a product of I never hit a woman in my life. However, I abused them verbally, I abused them mentally,
Mhm.
and so everybody, any woman that I come into contact with, Chastity, as well as yourself, I
Mhm.
just like to say I apologize for being in that state of mind. I apologize to you, and I apologize to every woman, every black woman on this planet, as well as any other woman. You know what I mean? Yeah, my experience was around black women. That
Mhm.
was my whole experience in life. At the same time, I think this affects society as a whole.
Yeah.
When you place yourself like in my shoes where I was and what I was doing in life. So I just want to take this time to just apologize to you for
Wow.
just being that person that I was. But today I'm a father, I'm a brother,
Mhm.
I'm an uncle as well. I'm a gentleman, I'm a husband, and I'm definitely a go-getter too. so
Absolutely.
so I took that time in prison, going into prison without a GED and coming home with my GED, my associate's degree, my bachelor's and my master's degree before I came home.
Mhm.
And so, that was an achievement by itself for me, because I was able to grow and develop and take that, what I define as that self introspection of myself, and shed that what I define as a distorted value system that I think a lot of us that's in prison that come from the streets, we grew up with this distorted value
Yeah.
system. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So and so I talk too much, but I just wanted
Okay.
to share that with you
Yeah.
at this moment. And if we could, can you tell me? And I want to thank you too for for busting down that door for your loved one,
Hmm.
and because a lot of times too, like we do so much damage to women that they tired now. A lot of them is tired of coming through them doors. I'm talking about mothers, sisters, wives, girlfriends, aunts. They
Hmm.
tired, and by right, a lot of them are, because we continue, us men, and then we continue to take this path, you know, uh, uh, of running into this same wall when
Hmm.
when there's a door right there to go around the wall, but we choose to continue to be in that cycle that I think we in. A lot of us are still in. So I definitely applaud you for definitely taking that step in life, for
Absolutely.
being with
And thank
you.
you
And
for
so if
that.
you could share with me, your experience too with that, with the
Yeah.
system.
No, and I really appreciate that. And it kind of segues into what I was going to say. Yes, the women are leading the charge, and I found myself probably 3 to 4 years into it saying, where are the men? Like, we are, because it became exhausting. We did a 2-year campaign because it into getting body cams on our COs in Ohio, and because it became exhausting fighting the system when they got billions of dollars to beat us down, family members and people just trying to keep our loved ones alive, because you know how the system goes. You've been in prison, you see people dying every day, you see the trauma that goes in behind it.